Hello, I'm Juanita Louise, and I'm here with Dr. Robin Martin. And she's agreed to do a presentation of learning this year to tell us what she's learned for 2016. Robin, what did you learn this year?
Oh, I learned learned a lot of lessons. I think when we started discussing this earlier, I started to reflect back, not only just the last year, but probably the last 16 months is how I want to capture this. Over the last 16 months, I think that the country in general has gone through an enormous transformation, good, bad, and ugly, and indifferent. And from police riots and our understanding what police brutality and occupation looks like in some communities, to gun violence in the LGBT community, gun violence against children. It's just been our whole political system and thinking about where we are as a country. I don't care which side you're on. It's been a hard year. And I think one of the lessons that I've learned is just how fragile our democracy is, quite frankly. And I don't think we think about it in those terms because we live in this privileged US and we think that democracy is something that is an automatic. And I think what I've learned more is that it's very frail at times. It feels frail at times and it demands our attention at all times. And I think at some point, many of us have gotten complacent around that. And this past 16 months to me has just been a kind of a renewing of that thought around what is my individual role and what is our collective role to ensure that democracy is something that we really desire and that we really are moving towards to preserve on so many levels. And so, as you know, I'm writing a book around leadership. And so this understanding of what that frailty looks like and what it will take in order to continue to preserve just basic human rights and humanity at its core, I think is key and key in what I've been thinking about more broadly as we throughout the last 16 months.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to kind of list some of those things, what were your learnings?
So one of the most profound articles I read this year was by a guy named Umar. He wrote this beautiful piece around seven principles of leadership. And what I learned about that article is he talked a lot about privilege without stating who has privilege. He talks about this guy named Kevin, and Kevin has this glass ceiling, and some people feel like they can't get to that glass ceiling, or Kevin seems to climb up these ladders very easily, and some of us don't feel like we can. That is so much of more of a struggle for others. And so while the article was talking about privilege in a number of ways, I think what struck me the most was the call for kind of a different way of thinking about the way we live and the way we lead in our own individual lives. And at the end of the article, the author kind of says, you know what? So yes, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to be kinder. It will demand for you to be more innovative. It will demand that we bring to the table a level of excellence every single day. And he said, while that seems like, he said, at the end of the thing, it says, while you may damn the weight of the burden, let us also give thanks for the gifts. Mm-hmm. And so often I think that many of us are stuck in the weight of the burden. And we are damning the weight of the burden because it feels so overbearing. It feels so weighty that we're stuck there oftentimes. Mm. When I read the piece, though, the last part of that, and let us also give thanks for the gift, is recognizing that our burden and how we feel to have this burden is also our gift. That if we didn't feel this burden, something is terribly wrong if we didn't feel it.
Yeah.
The fact that we feel the burden is actually a gift in itself. And so the gift is we get to reimagine, we get to innovate, we get to be kinder. It demands us to bring a fuller ourselves and the full humanity of ourselves in a way that we don't often think about because we're so stuck in the burden piece of it. And for me, it was just with a shift around thinking about leadership that it feels burdensome sometimes. I mean, again, whether you're on the protest side or the acceptance side, either side feels like a big burden. But if we think about what is the core, what are we really, really aspiring to be and who we're aspiring to be, I think we should understand that those things are gifts and we get to bring our gifts every single day. I end with the last lesson, and I think it was December the 27th. I was at home with my family, and I woke up giddy. I just woke up giddy with this enormous amount of joy in my heart. And my cousin then came to the room and they said, it's time to go. And I said, I have to write this down. I just have to write this down. And I flipped up my laptop and I started to write this poem about I get to. And that was the title of the poem, I get to. We get to. To me, again, it was another shift of that feeling like this is a burden that I get to love. I get to participate. I get to live. I get to think critically about things that impact not only my community, but the broader community. And so, again, just another shift of thinking about what we bring to the table as gifts, and that we actually get to do it as opposed to we have to do it, because that seems like more of a burden than, every single day I get to wake up to impact the world in a more different way. I get to love people and think about people differently. I get to appreciate humanity and all that it brings to on this journey. So those would be the three things that I think I've learned over the last year and a half, and relinquishing some of the anguish around just my individual role and our collective role in order to move society forward.
Those are great learnings for the year. What are some of your hopes for this year, for 2017?
Mm-hmm. I hope that we will learn how to find humor and levity in things that mean something to us without mocking others. I hope that we take serious concerns that impact others and really have a profound impact on their lives, and we know the difference. Sometimes I'm finding we're mixing the two. We're laughing at the expense of others, and we're laughing at things that are in our attempt to kind of have some levity. We're laughing at things that impact people's day-to-day lives. Yesterday I was reflecting on just the confirmation hearings, and people are making jokes around the comment by DeVos about grizzly bears and gun control in our schools. Well, you can find the aha moment. Let's really take serious the threat of guns in our own schools and the lives to our children. And I think we have to be able to separate the two. And while we're mocking one, we're also in some ways normalizing this whole ideal around what we should be taking very serious. And I think for me, being able to parse those out in my own mind to say, I will not lower myself to mock others about situations or that really we should be taken serious as leaders, that we should be taken serious. So I hope that I remind myself to be kinder even when I am disagreeing, and really get down to the core of what's important to our society and how do we protect the least of them, and forego my own instinct or some of the instincts is to mock and to make fun of, or to really try to understand what the real issues are at hand and how do we work towards solving real problems.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your willingness to participate in this. I think that I wanted to do POLs with my community, the people who, I always say are my people, to share it, because I think you all have lots of wisdom, and I want to know what you all have learned this year. And even though we have conversations throughout the year, I think, when we're in a position where we have to really think about, okay, so what have I learned? To me, I'm always surprised by what comes up. So thank you. And I hope that you learned just as much this year, and that you'll come back and share it with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.